When Alex received the invitation, he had no idea that it would lead to one of the strangest nights of his life. His alien friend Zara had always been different from anyone he had ever met. She was warm, kind, and always made him feel like he belonged. So when she invited him to dinner at her home, he thought it would be like any other friendly gathering. He had known Zara for a while. She had introduced him to her world, a world full of advanced technology, strange customs, and a mysterious past. But despite all the oddities, she had always seemed human enough to him. So, when Zara told him that her mother would also be present at dinner, Alex didn't think much of it. He assumed it would be just another night spent getting to know more about her culture, perhaps trying new foods and learning new things. The evening began as expected. Zara greeted him at the door with a smile, and they exchanged casual pleasantries. Her home was unlike anything he had ever seen, futuristic with sleek metallic surfaces and soft glowing lights. The air smelled fresh, but there was something else about it that he couldn't quite place. The atmosphere felt charged, almost as if something was waiting to happen. Zara led him into the dining area where her mother sat. Her mother, though, was nothing like what Alex had imagined. Zara's mother was regal, her presence commanding the room the moment Alex laid eyes on her. She had an air of authority that was unmistakable, and there was something unnerving about the way she looked at him. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, seemed to be studying him as if he were an object to be examined. Zara's mother didn't greet him warmly like her daughter had. Instead, she merely nodded at him, a slight smirk curling at the corners of her lips. Alex tried to ignore the tension in the air and sat down at the table, but the weight of the moment was hard to shake off. His mind raced as he tried to figure out what had made him feel so uncomfortable. Dinner began, and Zara's mother spoke little, letting Zara take the lead in the conversation. Zara was as charming as always, telling Alex about the newest scientific discoveries her people had made and the wonders of their galaxy. But Alex couldn't stop glancing at her mother, who remained silent for the most part, watching him with those piercing eyes. There was something unsettling about her presence. It was as if Zara's mother was always calculating, always analyzing every word he said. Alex tried to focus on the conversation, but his nerves kept getting the better of him. His instincts told him that this dinner wasn't just a casual get-together. Zara's mother was a person of great power, and Alex had the sense that he was being tested in some way. But tested for what? He didn't know. As the night went on, the conversation grew quieter. Zara's mother didn't engage much, but her eyes never left him. Alex could feel the weight of her gaze, and every time he spoke, he felt as though she was looking deeper, searching for something hidden inside him. He couldn't help but wonder if Zara had warned her mother about him. He had heard stories of how the alien species viewed humans, often as little more than pets or curiosities. Perhaps, he thought, this was just another one of those situations where humans were viewed as nothing special. But there was something more. He could feel it in the air, a strange tension that neither Zara nor her mother had acknowledged. It was as if he had walked into a room full of secrets, secrets that were not meant for him to understand. Alex's curiosity only grew as the evening wore on, and he found himself wondering what kind of game was being played. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Zara's mother spoke, her voice soft but carrying an undeniable weight. "You're not here just for dinner, Alex," she said, her eyes narrowing slightly as she looked at him. Her words sent a chill down his spine, and for a moment he felt like he had been caught in a trap. But what was the trap? What was he being pulled into? Alex tried to keep his composure, but the tension in the room was suffocating. Zara's mother continued, her tone calm, yet there was a sharpness in her voice that made every word feel like a threat. "You've been invited, yes, but you are part of something much bigger than you realize." The air felt colder all of a sudden, and Alex's heart began to race. What was she talking about? He tried to speak, to ask her what she meant, but the words got stuck in his throat. Zara's mother had just revealed something Alex had never expected, and now nothing felt the same. Zara looked at her mother, then back at Alex, her face unreadable. The room grew even quieter, and for the first time that night Alex felt completely out of place. He had walked into Zara's home thinking it was just another friendly dinner. But now he wasn't so sure anymore. There was something more to this invitation, something dark lurking behind the facade of a simple meal. The dinner that had started so innocently had turned into something much more dangerous. And as Alex sat at the table staring at the two alien women before him, he realized he had just stepped into a world that he didn't fully understand. A world where every gesture, every word, carried a hidden meaning. He had been invited for dinner, yes. But what had he truly been invited for? The silence that followed Zara's mother's cryptic words was thick. The soft hum of the strange lights in the room filled the void. But it did nothing to break the tension that seemed to hang in the air. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, and for a moment he wondered if he had misheard. You've been invited, yes, but you are part of something much bigger than you realize. The words echoed in his mind over and over, like a chant he couldn't escape. What was Zara's mother trying to say? Alex glanced at Zara, hoping for an explanation, but her expression was unreadable. She was watching him with a look that was almost too calm, too knowing. For the first time, he realized just how little he truly knew about her. Zara had always been kind and friendly, showing him a side of her people that seemed almost human. But in this moment, with her mother sitting across the table, Alex began to see the cracks in the facade. There was something hidden, something lurking beneath Zara's smile that he hadn't seen before. Zara's mother leaned forward slightly, her eyes still locked on Alex. I've been watching you. Alex, we've been watching you for a long time. The way she said it sent a shiver through his spine, as if she were speaking to him from the shadows of his own mind. Was it possible that they knew more about him than he realized? Alex swallowed hard, trying to gather his thoughts. I don't understand, he finally managed to say, his voice shaky despite his best efforts to remain composed. What do you mean? Watching me? The older alien woman smiled, a cold, calculated smile. It wasn't a smile of kindness or understanding, but of something darker, more dangerous. You're not just here by coincidence. This dinner, this meeting, it was all planned. There's a purpose behind it, and you've already become a part of something far bigger than yourself. Zara's mother's words hung in the air like an invisible thread, and Alex felt himself pulled into it, unable to escape. His mind raced, trying to piece together what was happening. What was this about? Was this some sort of test? Was he being manipulated by the very people he had trusted? Zara's mother didn't give him a chance to answer. Instead, she continued, her voice low and hypnotic. You think you're just a human, a simple creature with no significance. But you're wrong. Your presence here isn't a mistake. You are important to us, more important than you could ever imagine. Alex's head spun. He wanted to question her, to demand answers, but the words felt heavy on his tongue. What was she talking about? Why was he here? What did they want from him? Zara's mother raised an eyebrow as if she could read the confusion on his face. You think you're just having dinner with an alien, don't you? That this is a simple gathering between friends. She laughed softly, the sound hollow and eerie. But there's no such thing as simple when it comes to our kind. Everything is a calculated decision. Everything has a purpose. Alex's breath hitched as the weight of her words settled over him like a heavy blanket. This wasn't just a dinner. It wasn't just a casual evening with a friend. It was something far more significant, but what? The room felt colder suddenly, as if the temperature had dropped several degrees in an instant. Alex's palms began to sweat, and his mind struggled to keep up with the rapid succession of thoughts. Zara's mother was playing a game, and he was caught in the middle of it. But what was the game? And how could he win? He stole another glance at Zara, but her face remained neutral, as though she were watching a play unfold rather than experiencing it herself. It was as if she had already accepted whatever was happening, as if she knew the outcome and didn't feel the need to intervene. Zara's mother, sensing Alex's growing unease, leaned back in her chair. You've heard the stories, haven't you? Stories about alien species visiting Earth, testing humans, choosing them for something greater. She paused, letting the words sink in. You, Alex, have been chosen. You may not understand why now, but in time you will. Alex's mind raced with questions, but no answers seemed to come. What did she mean by chosen? What kind of test was she talking about? And why him? Why had he been singled out for this strange, unsettling dinner? Before he could speak, Zara's mother raised a hand to silence him. You'll learn more in time. But you must understand, Alex, that your life is no longer your own. You are part of a much bigger plan now. The weight of her words was like a stone in his chest. His body tensed, his heart racing with a mix of fear and confusion. He had never felt more out of control in his life. This dinner, This simple invitation had turned into something he wasn't prepared for. Zara stood up from the table, her movements slow, deliberate. "Mother, please, let him process this in his own way." Her voice was calm, but there was an edge to it that Alex hadn't heard before. Was she trying to protect him? Or was she simply playing her part in whatever game her mother had set into motion? Zara's mother said nothing for a long moment, but her gaze never left Alex. Finally, she nodded. "Very well. But know this, Alex, you cannot escape your fate. You will play your part whether you want to or not." The words felt like a final warning. Alex had no idea what he had gotten himself into, but one thing was certain. His life was never going to be the same again. As Zara led him to the door, her mother's voice echoed in his mind. "You are part of something far bigger than you realize." The words felt like a curse, a dark promise that Alex wasn't sure he could escape from. The heavy silence between them was unbearable. Alex's heart hammered in his chest, his mind a whirlwind of confusion and fear. He had never imagined that a simple dinner could unravel his reality so quickly. Zara's mother's words had dug deep into him, leaving a trail of dread that he couldn't shake. He had been chosen for something, but for what? And why had he been invited here at all? Zara's voice broke through his thoughts. "Come with me, Alex. Let's go for a walk outside. You need to calm down." Without waiting for a response, she gently guided him towards the door. Her touch was warm, comforting, but the unease still gnawed at him. As they stepped outside into the cool night, the weight of her mother's cryptic words hung heavily between them. Alex could still feel her gaze on him, cold and calculating, as though she were watching from a distance. Even now, Alex couldn't quite shake the feeling that he was being observed, scrutinized, measured. The landscape outside Zara's home was unlike anything he had seen before. It was a blend of the natural and the unnatural. Lush green fields that seemed to glow faintly under the moonlight, with strange plants that pulsed with light. The sky above was dotted with unfamiliar constellations twinkling softly. The air smelled different too, fresh but with a hint of something sharp, something alien. Zara led him through the field, the soft crunch of the grass beneath their feet the only sound in the stillness. Her presence was soothing, but even she couldn't dispel the feeling of danger that loomed over him. He tried to speak, but his voice faltered. "Zara, what is going on? What did your mother mean? What did she mean by chosen?" Zara stopped walking, her gaze turning to the horizon. She didn't answer right away, as if she were trying to find the right words or perhaps deciding if she should even tell him the truth. Finally she spoke, her voice quieter than usual. "It's not something I can explain in a few words, Alex. My people, we've been watching humanity for centuries. We've studied your species, your strengths, your weaknesses, and we've been waiting for the right time to make contact." Alex's stomach twisted. "Contact? What do you mean by contact? You've been watching us. Why?" Zara turned to face him, her eyes filled with a strange sadness. "Because we've chosen you, Alex. You're the key. You have something inside of you, something that's been hidden for a long time." Alex took a step back, his mind racing. He felt a growing sense of dread. "What do you mean, something inside me? I'm just a human. I don't have anything special about me." Zara's gaze softened, but there was a sharpness in her voice as she continued. "You think you're just human, but you're not. Your DNA, your genetic makeup, it's unique. There's something inside of you, a spark, a power that no one has ever seen before. And my mother, she's been watching you, studying you, waiting for the right moment to reveal it." Alex's mind was spinning. He had always thought of himself as just an ordinary man, someone with no special abilities, no extraordinary qualities. And now, standing in the middle of an alien world, he was being told that he was different. He was being told that he had something inside of him that made him special, something that Zara's people had been waiting for. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" Alex demanded, his voice rising with frustration. "Why didn't you warn me? I don't understand any of this. I'm just a man, a human. What could I possibly have that's so special?" Zara took a deep breath as though gathering her thoughts. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want to burden you. I didn't want you to feel like you had no choice. But the truth is, you do have a choice, Alex. You can embrace your destiny or you can run from it. But either way, it's already begun." "Destiny?" Alex echoed, his voice filled with disbelief. "What does that even mean? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do?" Zara's eyes locked onto his, and for the first time that night, Alex saw something vulnerable in her gaze. "You have the power to change the course of history, Alex. You were chosen because of what you are, what you have inside you. You're the key to something greater, something that could shape the future of not just humanity but all species. Alex shook his head, trying to make sense of it all. You're saying I'm some kind of hero, some kind of savior? Zara didn't answer immediately. She stepped closer to him, her voice barely above a whisper. No, Alex, not a hero. But you're something more than human. You have the potential to unlock something that could change everything, but it's dangerous. It's a risk. Alex felt his pulse quicken as Zara's words sank in. He had never thought of himself as special. He had never wanted to be more than what he was. But now, standing in the middle of an alien landscape, with the weight of Zara's revelations hanging over him, he realized that his life was no longer his own. He had been thrust into something bigger than himself, and the choices he made from this point on would affect not only his future, but the future of everyone around him. What happens now? He asked, his voice barely audible. Zara's face softened, her hand reaching out to touch his arm. Now we wait. There are others who will come for you, Alex. You're not the only one. There are others like you, others who have been chosen. Alex swallowed hard, trying to steady his racing thoughts. And when they come, what then? Zara's expression darkened. Then we'll see what happens. But be careful, Alex. The people who are coming are not as kind as I am. They want what you have inside you, and they'll do anything to get it. The weight of her words hung heavily in the air as they stood together under the strange sky, a sense of foreboding creeping over Alex. This was no longer a simple invitation to dinner. It was the beginning of something much bigger, and Alex had no idea how deep the rabbit hole went. The game had begun, and there was no turning back. Alex could feel his mind racing as he walked beside Zara, trying to process everything she had told him. His heart beat in his ears, and the strange pulse in the air around them seemed to echo his confusion. Zara had revealed so much, too much, and yet there was still so much he didn't understand. The night had become darker, and the soft glow from the plants around them had started to flicker, as though the world itself was holding its breath. Zara remained silent, her eyes trained ahead, her expression unreadable. They had reached the edge of the field, where the ground gave way to a vast rocky landscape that stretched out into the distance. The sky above was painted with unfamiliar constellations, each one burning bright like distant stars, guiding them further into the unknown. Zara stopped walking, turning to face Alex with a serious look. The usual warmth in her eyes was gone, replaced by an intensity that unsettled him. For a moment she seemed to be searching for the right words, as though debating whether she should tell him more, or whether he was ready to hear it. I know this is overwhelming, Zara said softly, her voice carrying a weight of sorrow. But you have to understand, Alex, the power inside you, the one my mother spoke of. It's not just a gift. It's a burden. A responsibility. Alex looked at her, his throat dry. A burden? He repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't understand. You're telling me that I'm some kind of key to something greater, something that could change everything. But you're saying it's a burden? Zara nodded, her gaze not meeting his. Yes, because others will come for you, Alex. People who will stop at nothing to get what you have. You won't be able to hide from them, and you can't escape what's coming. Her words hit him like a punch in the stomach. He had thought that the worst was over, that the worst thing about this night was his confusion. But now he realized he was just at the beginning of something much darker, much more dangerous than he had ever imagined. You don't have to do this, Zara continued, her voice trembling. I didn't want this for you. I never wanted you to be dragged into our conflict. But there's no turning back now. Alex shook his head, trying to clear the fog in his mind. So what do I do? You've told me I have some kind of power inside me. What am I supposed to do with it? How do I stop these people from coming after me? Zara took a deep breath, her expression hardening as she turned away from him, staring out into the darkness. I don't know, she said softly. I've been trying to figure that out for years. My people have been waiting for someone like you, someone with the strength to stand against what's coming. But we've never had anyone like you before. No one with your kind of potential. Alex's heart pounded in his chest. He was no hero. He had never asked for any of this. All he wanted was to go back to his normal life, to the world he knew where things made sense. But now that world seemed far away, as though it had slipped through his fingers the moment he stepped into Zara's home. "You keep saying, 'my people,'" Alex said, his voice sharp with frustration. "But who exactly are they? Who are you? What's your real purpose here?" Zara's eyes flickered to him, a flash of pain crossing her face before it disappeared behind a mask of cold determination. "I've told you enough for now, but I can't give you all the answers, not yet. You have to understand that there are others who will stop at nothing to control you, to control what you can do. They've been hunting people like you for generations. But why me?" Alex asked, feeling a surge of helplessness. "What makes me so different from anyone else?" Zara hesitated before answering. "It's not about you being special, Alex. It's about what you're connected to. Your bloodline, your ancestry, it's ancient. It's tied to something far older than human history. Something older than the galaxy itself." Alex felt a chill race down his spine. "You mean to say that my family, my ancestors, they're connected to all of this?" Zara nodded. "Yes. Your bloodline is tied to a force that goes beyond anything you can understand. It's the reason your DNA is so unique. The reason you have the power to do what others cannot. But that power isn't just for you, it's for them too. The ones who are coming." Alex felt a wave of nausea rise in his stomach. "And who exactly is them? Who's coming for me?" Zara's face tightened. "The ones who control the galaxy's most powerful factions. They've been searching for you for a long time. You're the key to their victory, and they'll do anything to get you." A sudden piercing sound broke the silence. It was distant but unmistakable, a low, humming vibration that seemed to come from the ground itself. The sky above darkened even further, and the stars twinkled erratically, as though reacting to the disturbance. Zara's eyes widened, and Alex followed her gaze. A dark, swirling cloud began to form on the horizon, moving faster than any storm Alex had ever seen. It seemed to be pulling in the very air around it, drawing everything into its center. Zara grabbed Alex's arm, her grip firm and urgent. "It's starting," she whispered, her voice filled with a mix of fear and determination. "They found us." Alex's stomach churned with dread as the swirling mass of dark energy grew closer, faster. He had no idea what was happening or what he was supposed to do. But one thing was clear. His life had just become something far more dangerous than he ever imagined. And there was no escaping it now. The truth was unfolding, and Alex had no idea if he was ready to face it. The air around Alex had changed, becoming thick with an unnatural weight like a storm was brewing just beneath the surface. Zara's grip on his arm tightened as she pulled him away from the edge of the rocky outcrop. The swirling cloud on the horizon was growing, pulling in the very atmosphere around them. Alex could feel the pressure building in his chest, a tension that gnawed at him, pulling his every instinct toward one conclusion. Something terrible was coming, and he was at the center of it. "They're here," Zara muttered, her voice trembling. "I knew it would come to this. I knew this day would come, but I didn't think it would be so soon." Alex struggled to keep his breathing steady, his mind racing as he tried to understand what was happening. The ground beneath their feet seemed to hum, vibrating as the strange cloud in the distance drew closer, blocking out the light of the stars. The air felt wrong, colder than it should have been for a night like this. It wasn't just the weather, it was the way everything seemed to shift, as though the world itself was preparing for a fight. "Zara, what is that?" Alex asked, his voice strained, trying to make sense of the darkness that was engulfing the sky. Zara's eyes flicked toward the mass of swirling energy, her face hardening. "It's them. The ones who've been hunting people like you. The ones who have always known what you are, and now they've found you." Alex's heart pounded harder in his chest. His blood felt thick, sluggish, as though it was trying to resist the pull of something far larger than himself. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being drawn into something beyond his control, beyond his understanding. "You said I had a choice," he said, struggling to steady his breath. "What choice do I have now? It feels like I'm trapped in some kind of game, Zara, and I don't even know the rules. What do you want me to do?" Zara's eyes softened for a moment, but the hardness quickly returned. "I'm not going to lie to you, Alex," she said. "You don't have many options, but you still have a choice. You can embrace what you are, what you've been chosen to be, or you can fight it, try to hide, try to run, but you'll never outrun them. They'll find you, and if they do, they'll take everything from you." Alex swallowed, his mind racing. He had always believed that life was about making choices, but this was something different. He wasn't just choosing between what was right and wrong. This wasn't a simple moral decision. This was survival, and the stakes were higher than anything he could have imagined. "Why didn't you tell me everything earlier, Zara?" Alex's voice shook as he turned to her, his eyes desperate. "Why keep all of this from me? Why let me think I was just some regular guy living my life when in reality, I was part of some larger me plot?" Zara's eyes flashed with guilt and she opened her mouth to speak, but her words caught in her throat. She hesitated, struggling with the weight of the truth she had kept from him. "I wanted to protect you," she finally said. "I wanted to keep you safe, even if it meant lying to you. I didn't want you to have to carry this burden, but I couldn't keep it from you forever. Did you ever think I might have wanted to make the choice for myself?" Alex snapped, the anger in his voice betraying his fear. "Did you ever think that maybe I didn't want to be dragged into this?" Zara's face softened, her eyes filled with a mixture of regret and sorrow. "I never wanted this for you, but you've always been part of it, whether you knew it or not. Your bloodline, your history, it's written in the stars. The people who are coming, they're not like us, Alex. They're powerful and they'll do anything to get what they want." Alex's stomach turned and his eyes darted toward the storm that was now only a few miles away. The swirling cloud was darkening, growing larger with every passing second. The pressure in the air was nearly unbearable and he could feel a force, something inside of him pulling him toward it. It was like the storm was calling him, tempting him, whispering promises of power he didn't understand. "Zara," he whispered, his voice strained. "What happens if I don't make a choice? What happens if I just walk away?" Zara's face hardened again, the sadness replaced by a cold determination. "You can walk away, Alex, but you won't escape it. You won't escape them. And if you don't choose, they'll take it from you anyway. They'll take what's inside you, and you'll never be the same." The wind howled as the cloud drew closer, its dark energy radiating in waves. Alex could feel the force of it now pressing against his chest, pulling him in. It was undeniable. He was at the heart of something far beyond him, and the only thing left to do was decide how he was going to face it. He looked at Zara one last time. "You're asking me to choose something that could change everything. But I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I can handle it." Zara's voice was soft but firm. "No one is ever ready, Alex, but that's the reality of it. You have a choice. You can embrace what you are, or you can let them take it. The power, the destiny, they're yours to decide. But you can't run from it forever." Alex closed his eyes, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The storm was almost upon them now, and the power inside him, a power he still couldn't fully understand, was awakening. It was as though every part of him was screaming to make a decision, to take control of his destiny. But what if he wasn't ready? What if he couldn't handle the weight of it all? Zara stepped closer, her hand resting on his shoulder. "Whatever you choose, I'll be here. I've always been here. But remember, Alex, once you make that choice, there's no going back." The storm raged overhead now, and the energy was building, threatening to swallow them whole. It was time for Alex to decide.